What is going on, New York Giants fans? D. Illa here. Well, I know what's going on for most of you out there. We're all fighting a bout of depression right now after what we all witnessed at 1 o'clock today against the Minnesota Vikings after the New York Giants fall to the Minnesota Vikings 28-6. While this team was celebrating its 100th anniversary of this team's great franchise. This is probably going to go down as one of the biggest stains on this organization, considering what we were celebrating today in its history. Easily. The product that this team put out on that field today, there's no doubt about it. I don't know about a lot of you guys out there, but for a good, 5 to 6 years at least, outside of anything I do here on YouTube, I talk about Giants football here on YouTube, but once I get outside, like out in public or at work, and conversations kind of spark up about football, and everybody's out there talking about their teams, saying all these positive things about what their team's going to do this year, this, that, and the other, I can't even engage in those conversations, man. I haven't been able to do it for a long, long time when it comes to this football team. Because I look at this roster, and I see what has been put together on this team, and I just know it's going to be the same song and dance year in and year out. Nothing is going to change. It's just going to be the same story. I've opened this book. I've read this page time and time again. And I'm through with it. I'm through with it. I'm not saying I'm done with the Giants themselves. But many players on this roster, I'm done with. And I kind of hate the fact that they put on that New York Giants uniform every single Sunday and play for this great franchise. I'm kind of starting to resent that fact. I'm not starting to. This has been happening for a long period of time now. I care that much about this franchise that I'm starting to get pissed off at the players that are out there on that field that they're putting on the New York Giants uniform. It's not sitting well with me. And I'm sure it's not sitting well with many of you out there, if you actually care about this team, like I do. Now, for much of the offseason, I've listened to a lot of different content creators when it comes to New York Giants football. I've had people, I've heard people come out here and talk about this defensive line and talk about how dominant it's going to be with the addition of Brian Burns. That was completely non-existent today. I've come on this channel numerous times, talked about this secondary, 6-7 months ago, about how it was going to be an issue and how it didn't matter what kind of talent you had on the defensive line. If you didn't have the talent in the secondary, the defensive line wasn't going to mean a damn thing in the end. If your secondary can't hold up, you can put all the pressure in the world on these quarterbacks in this league. They're all too damn good, man. They're going to maneuver their way in that pocket. They're going to find the weakness in the secondary, and they're going to pick it apart. I said this months and months and months ago. I never necessarily believed that Brian Burns was going to all of a sudden turn this defense into a top 10 defense just like that. There was no way in hell I was going to believe that. And I've heard a lot of content creators come out here and talk about this. Many people that have way more subscribers than I do. I'm sitting down at the bottom of the barrel in comparison to a lot of these guys that come out here and talk this nonsense. And it doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. You guys just go out, just keep on doing what you're doing. Follow the people you want to follow. Ignore the little guy like me just trying to come out here and talk some sense into New York Giants fans out there. I'm not trying to talk negatively about this team. I'm just trying to tell you exactly how it is when it comes to this football team. That's all I'm trying to do. And I've said on many occasions, I want to come out here and talk positively about this football team. I want to do it in the worst way. But you got to give me something to talk positively about this football team. I'm not just going to hand you that kind of recognition. That's not going to happen. It's a tough thing to digest, man, watching this team play football right now, man. And I used to get so fired up for New York Giants games, man. But with every year that passes, every single game that passes, with the roster that we currently have, that flame gets smaller and smaller and smaller every single game. And like when the season started today, man, I used to be so damn amped up, circling around the living room, just waiting to turn that TV on and tune into the Giants. But today, honestly, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. And I never thought I would ever feel this way about this franchise. But in somehow, some way, this roster has made me feel this way. What we saw today was a complete disgrace. There's no other words to describe what we saw out there in that football field today.